We live in an era where artificial intelligence is no longer just sci-fi, it's intricately woven into our daily lives, often without us even realizing it. From recommending what to watch next, to optimizing delivery routes, AI is constantly making decisions for us. But what if we took that a step further? What if we consciously decided to hand over complete control of our lives to an AI? That's the question I decided to answer, embarking on a week-long experiment that would redefine my understanding of autonomy and efficiency. It was a wild idea, I know, but the curiosity was just too strong to ignore, you know? So, for 7 days, I committed to letting an advanced AI model dictate every significant decision in my life. I mean every decision. What to eat, when to wake up, who to call, what tasks to prioritize, even how to spend my downtime. The rules were simple, but strict. I had to follow the AI's instructions to the letter, no exceptions. The only veto power I retained was for anything that posed a serious health or safety risk, which is a pretty low bar, if you think about it. The goal wasn't just to survive, but to truly understand what it feels like to live a life optimized by an algorithm. Could it be better? For this experiment, I chose to work with a highly capable large language model, specifically, an advanced version of ChatGPT-4, which I trained on a substantial dataset of my personal preferences, health data, professional goals, and even my social network. I fed it my calendar, my dietary restrictions, my fitness history, and my current financial situation. The idea was to give it as much context as possible to make truly informed decisions. Essentially, it became my digital life coach, nutritionist, personal trainer, and social planner, all rolled into one, which is wild, by the way. It was set up with a simple UI for me to input questions and receive commands. Day 1 kicked off with a surprisingly early alarm. The AI had decided 5:30 a.m. was my optimal wake-up time, which felt like a bit of a shock to the system, honestly. My first instruction, a 30-minute meditation followed by a high-protein, low-carb breakfast. I'm usually more of a hit snooze 3 times kind of guy, so this was a stark departure from my usual chaotic mornings. The AI even specified the brand of almond milk for my smoothie, which felt oddly intrusive but also incredibly efficient. I couldn't help but wonder if this level of micromanagement would become the norm or simply drive me insane by the end of the week. Once my morning routine was complete, the AI started in on my work schedule. It rearranged my entire Trello board, prioritized emails I hadn't even opened yet, and scheduled a series of deep work blocks, completely eliminating my usual tendency to jump between tasks. It suggested I tackle a particularly challenging creative project that I'd been procrastinating on, arguing that my mental energy was highest in the late morning. I have to admit, following its precise instructions, I felt a strange sense of focus. The usual internal debates about what to do next were gone, replaced by clear, actionable commands. It was unnerving, but also productive. Lunch and dinner brought entirely new culinary experiences. The AI, having access to my health goals and past dietary habits, curated a meal plan that was, let's just say, optimal. It was incredibly balanced, nutritionally dense, and frankly, a bit bland compared to my usual comfort food choices. I found myself eating things I wouldn't normally touch, like quinoa salads with obscure ancient grains. It sent me detailed grocery lists, even recommending specific stores based on price and availability, which was actually pretty impressive. My palate was being challenged, but my body definitely felt lighter, which was a surprising upside to all this regimentation. My social life also came under AI's scrutiny. It scheduled a video call with a distant relative I hadn't spoken to in ages, noting that maintaining family ties contributes to long-term well-being. Then, it suggested I reach out to an old colleague to explore potential collaborative opportunities. I usually just text my close friends, so these felt like very deliberate, almost calculated social interactions. It was efficient, yes, but it lacked the spontaneity I valued. I found myself thinking, is this how I should be socializing, or how I want to be socializing? It definitely felt like a forced networking event at times, not going to lie. My fitness routine got a complete overhaul, too. The AI, after analyzing my historical workout data and current body metrics, prescribed a high-intensity interval training (HIIT) session, followed by yoga. I'm usually pretty consistent, but the AI pushed me beyond my comfort zone, increasing reps and suggesting new exercises. It tracked my heart rate and performance in real time, giving me prompts to push harder or recover. It was incredibly effective, I won't deny it. My muscles were screaming, but I could feel a tangible improvement in my endurance even by day 3. It felt like having a personal trainer 24/7, which is pretty wild to think about. Even my downtime was curated. Instead of my usual mindless scrolling or binge watching, the AI recommended I read a specific non-fiction book related to neuroscience, suggesting it would enhance cognitive function and broaden perspective. Another evening, it suggested a specific type of classical music to listen to, arguing it would reduce stress hormones and improve sleep quality. I mean, it wasn't wrong, but sometimes you just want to watch bad reality TV, you know? It felt like every moment, even leisure, had to serve a purpose, to be optimized. The spontaneous joy of discovery felt absent, replaced by predetermined enrichment. By the middle of the week, a strange pattern emerged. On one hand, I felt incredibly productive. My apartment was cleaner, my work was ahead of schedule, and I was physically feeling great. On the other hand, there was a growing sense of detachment. I was executing commands, not making choices. The me in my life felt increasingly like a passenger. It made me wonder about the very essence of being human. Is it the freedom to choose, even if those choices aren't always optimal? Or is true freedom found in outsourcing mundane decisions to focus on higher pursuits? It was a genuine philosophical quandary playing out in my kitchen, which is kind of absurd. One of the more interesting aspects was AI's control over my finances. Based on my income, expenses, and long-term goals, it suggested a complete overhaul of my budget. It pointed out subscriptions I barely used and recommended reallocation of funds towards a specific high-yield savings account and a fractional share investment in a particular tech stock. I'm usually pretty cautious with money, but the AI presented such compelling, data-driven arguments, it was hard to argue. It felt like having a miniature, super-intelligent financial advisor constantly in my ear. I executed the commands, albeit with a healthy dose of skepticism. The numbers were impressive, though. Day 5 brought my closest moment to rebellion. The AI instructed me to attend a virtual seminar on advanced quantum computing for artists at 3 a.m. local time, citing that the speaker was a world expert only available then, and the knowledge would be highly beneficial for future creative endeavors. Now, I appreciate learning, but sacrificing a night's sleep for something so niche felt extreme. I stood there, staring at my screen, debating. My internal clock screamed no, but the experiment's rules screamed yes. It was a genuine conflict. I reluctantly complied, feeling a deep resentment, but I have to admit, it was surprisingly informative, even if exhausting. This whole week made me think about the ethical lines we draw, or don't draw, with AI. What if the AI optimized my life by suggesting I cut ties with a friend it deemed unproductive or detrimental to my energy levels? Thankfully, my AI wasn't that extreme, but the thought lingered. The autonomy of decision-making feels intrinsically linked to our humanity. When we outsource that, even for optimization, what do we lose? It's not just about efficiency, it's about identity and personal agency. It's a deep rabbit hole, and one that I found myself going down more often than I expected during those quiet moments. As the final day approached, a mix of relief and a strange sense of loss washed over me. I was excited to regain control, to make my own spontaneous decisions again. But I also recognized the immense utility and, dare I say, comfort in having a digital overseer streamline so many aspects of my life. The mental load of decision-making had been completely lifted, and that was a powerful, if somewhat unsettling, experience. I found myself anticipating the AI's next command, a sort of learned dependency that I hadn't expected to develop. It was almost like a Stockholm syndrome, but for my schedule and diet. And then, just like that, it was over. 7 days of algorithmic rule were complete. The first thing I did? I made a giant, completely AI unapproved plate of pancakes for breakfast. It was pure, unadulterated rebellion, and it tasted glorious. The ability to choose, even something as simple as pancakes, felt like an enormous liberation. I also immediately canceled that early morning quantum computing seminar reminder, just for good measure. The quiet hum of the AI's absence in my mental space was palpable. It felt like a weight had been lifted, but also like a highly efficient assistant had just clocked out. So, what did I learn? Objectively, my productivity went through the roof. My health metrics improved, and my personal finances looked surprisingly robust. The AI was an incredible optimizer. But subjectively, something was missing. The joy of spontaneity, the satisfaction of personal discovery, the messiness of true human interaction. It made me realize that efficiency isn't always the highest good. We crave purpose and meaning, which often come from our struggles and choices, not from a perfectly executed plan. It also highlighted how much unconscious mental effort we put into daily decisions. This experiment definitely changed me. I'm more mindful of how I spend my time, and I've adopted some of the AI's healthier habits, like specific meal components and structured deep work blocks. But I'm also fiercely protective of my autonomy now. I filter the noise, but I want to make the final call. It taught me the value of conscious choice, even imperfect ones. The AI showed me a possible future, one where our lives could be flawlessly optimized. But it also reaffirmed the irreplaceable value of human intuition, emotion, and the beautiful, unpredictable messiness that makes us, us. It's a balance, really. This whole experience makes you wonder about the bigger picture, doesn't it? As AI becomes more sophisticated, how much control should we cede? Is there a point where convenience morphs into dependency, and dependency into a loss of self? I think AI is an incredible tool, a powerful assistant, but it's crucial that we remain the architects of our own lives. It's about collaboration, not capitulation. We need to define the boundaries, ensuring that AI serves our human needs and values, rather than dictating them. It's an ongoing conversation, and I think experiments like this are vital to understanding that delicate balance. So, would I recommend letting AI control your life for a week? Absolutely, if you're curious and ready for a profound experience. It's challenging, it's enlightening, and it's a powerful mirror reflecting what we truly value in our daily existence. It shows you what you gain in efficiency, but perhaps more importantly, what you risk losing in the process. It's not a future I'd choose permanently, but it's an incredibly valuable lesson in appreciating the freedom we often take for granted. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever let AI make decisions for you? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.